So I had some uploads, and I was going to get back to talking about the black interpersonal relationship stuff. It's just all that stuff with the riots on the Capitol came up, and I had to give my 2 cents. I think I got one more video. Um, all my videos are about an hour, where I was just giving my thoughts, pointing out some of the hypocrisy. But I got to go back and listen to it and make sure it's what I wanted to say. But Cap sent me a link to Kevin Samuel's show with this woman, this single mother from Houston. I don't know what it is. What's interesting, and I guess because Kevin, gives himself more access. I mean, a lot of the stuff that exists now didn't exist, when I first came online. Like the Instagram Live, and I mean, at best, we had, Blog Talk Radio. But let me say this from the beginning. There is no new information. Okay? All that you're seeing now, like all the stuff with what's going on with, these women calling in Kevin's show, is not new information. If anything, for those of us that, discovered this in the conversations that we've, been having in the manosphere or online, or the black manosphere, whatever you want to call it, it's bias confirmation. It's bias confirmation. Now, I don't know what it is about, with Kevin, and why he gets so many single mothers that call in. But see, it goes back to two things that I previously talked about: wrong orientation and belief systems. We've talked about the matriarchy. We've talked about this sort of black female mindset that exists in the black community. This whole attitude of black women feeling that they are superior to black men, which I always scratch my head. I'm like, I don't even know why you want a black man that you think that you're better than. But then going back to the whole concept of wrong orientation, they're not looking for black men to be better than them, because that's not how they're oriented. They're looking for black men to get with their program. And this is one of the things that Kevin, responded to the woman, said, you need to put your penis away, because she was talking about getting with a plumber and then trying to turn the plumber into, some type of, super go-getter that's on her level, right? Adding a man to her program. And I don't know what this whole situation is with just shitting on blue collar men. A lot of these women have no clue, no idea whatsoever how much any of these men are actually making. You got guys who own the company, you got guys who work for the company, but it is not, like the 1970s in terms of their idea of what, a plumber is. You got guys, they got to get licenses. They have to be certified. They got to get with apprenticeships. They just had a guy in Jersey who got arrested for he was doing some sort of home renovations without a license. You know what I'm saying? You need to have skills. You need to be an educated person. You need to be certified and know what you're doing. When you go in and you're, doing the type of work that these guys are doing. It's like if you're, you got an electrician that comes through. How are you going to have an electrician that comes through that doesn't know Ohm's law? How are you going to know, have an electrician that doesn't know the current that's running through the wire, and what the resistance is, and what the what the thickness of the wire needs to be for the amount of current that's going, or flowing through the wire, right? I mean, there's all type of technical stuff, that goes on. I had a newfound respect, for because I was helping, someone with moving furniture around. And, just a newfound respect for engineers in terms of, anybody who designs a couch. When you design a couch, you have to keep in mind whether the homes have, double doors or not. Like, in other words, there's a maximum and there's a minimum. So if you design a couch, you can only make the couch only so big, because to get through the standard, single door entry of a home, right, that door is a standardized width. I mean, just things like this. Like, think about it. Like, well, yeah, I'm designing a couch, right? And it's like, yes, you have freedom to design whatever couch you want and however you want to design it. However, you must stay within the maximums of the width of a doorway. You know what I mean? Like, these are the things that go into play. And it's like, women, you never hear women have conversations like that. You never hear women talk about the technical stuff and like how things actually, get to where they're at. Like, women just look at the situation like finished product, and they don't really contemplate what actually goes into the transportation or the picking and the plucking of the strawberries from Chile that get transported all across the Caribbean and go through the Panama Canal and land in New York or end up in Miami and then get transported and all that stuff, and then they're eating a strawberry on the top of their vanilla ice cream. Like, they don't even, like, women don't even like comprehend that. It's just me, I want. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Different conversation. It's just an irritation with the way that just women, I mean, they go out here and they literally think they are just so badass. They think that they're more badass than men. Again, this is one of my issues with, women in leadership. As I've said, when it comes to, their ability to execute things, they have to go to men to get it done. I don't care if a black woman is the mayor. I don't care if she's the president. I don't care if she's the CFO, all that stuff. At the end of the day, in terms of an enforcement or security or whatever, she's going to have to go to men to do the thing. And that's why, in large part, there's a difference in respect and acknowledgement between men interacting with one another versus women interacting with men. At the end of the day, you are not going to beat his ass. And so, like, these women, like, their ideas of how powerful they are is straight up delusional. These women are running around thinking that they're Thanos. So now, getting off of, women in their masculine energy. I think like a couple weeks ago, I did a video and I talked about how, this whole issue with these single mothers just online, just demanding, what they feel they deserve. And you got like the whole hypergamous camp conversation. And again, you have women that, I can deal with hearing that from, a young, attractive, childless woman. I can deal with what she feels that she deserves. I can totally accept that. Okay? Because she's in her prime. But these women that got babies by Dusties and they sit up there all after the fact and want to talk about what they feel they deserve and demand, and they're trying to sit in the same boat as the single, childless, youthful women. I got a serious problem with that. Like, bitch, who the fuck is you? And like I said in that video, the main issue, and this is coming directly from Captain Solo, I'm stealing his quote. The main issue is that what women are demanding now, like after the fact, what a single mother is demanding, what she feels she deserves is actually what she needs because she has mouths to feed. And so you have, women who have the wrong orientation, women who think that black men are beneath them, but, demand that black men thirst them and choose them and wife them up and then try to use all type of, shaming tactics about, well, what about Wakanda and what about Black America and what about the community and what about this and what about that? Meanwhile, the women are running around doing whatever the fuck they want to do. Okay. But I have another added layer to it. And I had a 2-hour video. And then I went and I made another video and I incorporated a lot of stuff from that 2-hour video and shrunk it down and, compacted down to an hour, long video, amidst talking about some other things, about black people not valuing one another. And I didn't post that video. And Captain Solo and we had a conversation. And we were talking about, because, he sent me the video. So we're talking about Kevin's video and we're talking about this woman. I'm like, and you saw my post because I've actually posted on the community tab. And I was like, what don't they get about this? And so we discussed it for a little bit. Wrong orientation, belief systems, believing in the matriarchy, divine black woman, female principles and all that other stuff, right? Hoteptress, right? The black woman is the center of the universe. the thinking that they're better, they're superior to black men. And that the main thing, key point, I cannot emphasize this anymore. Okay, key point is they fundamentally at their core believe that they are supposed to add a black man, or any man for that matter, to what they are doing as black women. That is the biggest like wrong orientation aspect that there is to all of this. That they believe that they are adding a man to what they are doing. And when you're talking about high value men who are oriented to add women to what they are doing, you can obviously see where the clash is going to come. Okay. The other but getting back to the point, the other thing that Cap pointed out, and he was like, I'm gonna take it a step further. And I touched on this in the videos that I did, but I didn't post. But he put it in better terms, because this really is what it comes down to with this whole aspect of high value men. And I talk about how, we know the classic story, right? The woman doesn't want the lame. She's into the bad boys and the street dudes, gets pregnant or gets used and abused or whatever. And then after, she's used and abused, or after she has a baby, again, what she feels she deserves now are all these hypergamous conversations and pink pill conversations, and women need to need to go out here and don't be shamed in the feeling that you only deserve this just because you're a black woman and we're the biggest victims in the world. Okay, what they feel that they deserve is now what they need, because they have, mouths to feed. Right. And they're not in their prime, and they're not, again, the whole aspect of a man is essentially, when a woman is dating hypergamously, he has to pay for all this. But nobody ever asked the dude what they want. And this is one of the key points that Kevin was emphasizing in the video. I've emphasized this numerous times about it's what, it's not even a consideration what the man wants. And then Cap, he just knocked the ball out the park, being very specific about it, and going and saying basically, yeah, they don't care what ELs want, because EL is still an EL. Going back to what Styles used to say when we used to, argue and whatnot. An EL, a lame with money, is still a fucking lame. And that is how these women view lames. Doesn't matter the fact that she got a kid now. At the end of the day, remember, you are beneath her in her mind. You are beneath her. ELs never had a high sexual market value. So their attitude, the reason why, you sit there and you listen to these women and they say, I want a high value man, which means money. He's established. He's got money, right? He can take care of her and the kids, right? That's what the high value man it is. And they're saying, I want a high value man. But to them, real talk, the man is not really high value in the same sense that they looked at, the street dude or the Dusty or whoever it was that got them pregnant. In other words, to be very clear, at the end of the day, a lame is still a lame in their eyes. And so from their perspective, when a lame is sitting there, the reason why they don't even consider what high value men want is because most of the high value men are lames. And they look at it like, who the hell are you to demand X, Y, and Z? Because, again, regardless of the fact that a high value man is a high value man, because, he earns a lot and is able to provide for a family, which is what a older, more mature woman is going to look for. Yeah, every woman after she's 35 is going to say, I need a man that's established and got this and got that and everything else like that, because, again, you're entering middle age at that point. Technically speaking, at 35, it's middle age. Because I'm saying if you only make it to 70 years old, 70 divided by 2 is 35. That's middle aged. This is why it's just nuts the way that all these black people running around thinking they got all the time in the world. Okay, if you're in your mid 40s, you are past middle age. If you're in your 50s, you got 2 more decades before you're going to end up, in a home somewhere. That's the reality. Nobody's running around at 70 talking about, oh, going to the club and hollering at bitches and this, that, and the third. You'd be lucky if you make it that far. Real talk, especially the way that black people don't take care of themselves. And in the way that people just act like they're just going to get older without health problems and complications and whatnot. You know how many black men come to me talking about erectile dysfunction, can't get it up? But anyway, that's the scenario. And that's why I say these women are doomed. I'm going to say that. They're doomed. They are doomed. Because, it's a different time, y'all. You know, with the internet, YouTube, social media, men are having these conversations. Black men have lifted up every single rock in the black community as it pertains to the interpersonal relationships. All of black women's tricks, shaming tactics, black magic, voodoo, whatever you want to call it, it no longer is as effective as it once was. And yet these women, they like, again, it's like you've had ELs in the lab trying to figure this shit out. And you've had these women who they're only coming to the internet like last year, maybe this year. They only just got introduced to these conversations. And what you see when you hear these women calling into Kevin's show is you see, like, literally they just came off of the street where they got all their information, and they came online where you're dealing with, like, I don't know what you want to call them, black community scholars or whatever, right? That's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with people who have turned over every single rock. They've seen it all. We hung out on certain topics more than others, trying to figure out, is this valid or is it not valid? It's like we said, like the whole thing, well, y'all, we don't submit because y'all black men haven't built anything. Only to turn around and hear some chick talk about, well, in ancient Africa, we were running shit naturally because of melanin. It's like, wait a minute, bitch. Wait a minute. You're saying that you don't get with black men's program because the community's not built. But then on the other side, you're saying that in ancient Africa, black women were ruling, and that black women not ruling, and the way that black men in America have oriented themselves is Eurocentric because patriarchy is a Eurocentric concept. I'm like, okay, well then, bitch, you not getting with the program has nothing to do with black men not building. You see what I'm saying? Again, belief systems. Oh, it's a convenient excuse. It's a beautiful excuse. It's a beautiful excuse because those are the things that black men should be doing. It is a valid criticism, but it's an illegitimate point. It's illegitimate because they're at the end of the day, their belief system is that they should be in charge. They should be running shit. That is their belief system. This also goes back to the point that I made about why these women don't like feminist men. I made a joke to Cap, and he was cracking up. I was like, yeah, they want equal hypergamy. Equal hypergamy. And like I said, that's impossible. It's impossible to be equal in your relationship where hypergamy prevails. Because if hypergamy prevails, then that means that he's ahead of you. That means that he has more power than you. That means that you can be dependent on him, for the things that you need, right? This is what the women say, that this is what is the prerequisite for submission, right? But the thing is again, with the belief system that they want to run shit, that's why you have so many of these women pushing for equality. And we know it's never really equality. It's never really equality. What it is them trying to, negotiate, their position in the relationship. And then see, this is the part that pisses me off about a lot of sisters, because it's like, okay, well then why don't you just say that you want to run shit? I at least give an ounce of credit to some of these super dark feminist, high hoteptress high priestesses. I at least can give them an ounce of credit because they say what the hell they believe. But you got these other women that go in and they man stroke and they tell a man, I don't mind allowing a man to believe that he's in charge. Like, so they know that he doesn't really have the power, but they'll allow him to believe that because of, the concept, of the male ego. Right. And those are the women that actually want to run things and be in charge. And they just want to have a man around, as Dr. T. Hassan Johnson says, a concubine, a concuserf, you know what I'm saying? Black male bodyguards. That's the purpose of what those guys serve. OK, but many of these women, sooner or later, especially as they get older, they recognize that has limitations. And the limitations are a man who looks at you from the standpoint of equality is not the same type of man who's going to go out here and splurge on you and all this hypergamous talk that these women are talking about and Birkin bags and everything else. A hypergamous man prides himself on providing for women and children. And see, now what has happened is, again, these women have no real respect for hypergamous men. Hypergamous men, high value men, or high value hypergamous men, because the majority of that group consists of educated lames. The majority of it. And since, again, educated lames were not the desirable guys in high school, right? They were not the swagnificent guys. They were in the books and grinding and everything else. What is going on now is this whole talk of it's manipulation. OK, the equality shit, we want to run it, but, we're not comfortable with black male leadership. But that whole angle of equality, we don't get what we want out of those guys, because those guys are always talking about, equal and 50-50 and everything else. And let's go Dutch. And the women don't like that. Women have never liked equal treatment. The only reason they say equality is so that when it comes to chief decisions, they have veto power. Or they can say, well, I have 50% of the vote, and if I don't agree with it, then we don't have to go with that. Again, they can especially do that when dealing with a man who does not have financial power in the relationship. OK, she's just going to take her resources and go off and do what she wants to do. She doesn't have to negotiate, with you. She doesn't have to negotiate for her survival because she doesn't get her sustenance. She doesn't get her bread and butter or get her bread buttered by you. Right. So this is why, when it comes to the equality, the equality train, this is why the women are abandoning the equality train in droves, because they're like, all right, I hate patriarchy. I have these inferiority complexes about black men. Okay, fine. If I got to deal with black men, which I'm attracted to because of hypermasculine media promotion, everything. If I got to deal with black men, and I'm not even getting the black men that I want, which is, the cockstrong, strapping, fresh out of jail, Tookie Williams looking motherfucker, right? If I can't get that, okay, well, fine. I'll settle for, a professional high value EL, because at least he has the resources to trick out on me. And maybe, just maybe, if he's lucky enough, I'll bless him with some pussy, or I'll bless him with, a child for taking care of the child that I had by somebody else, if we're talking about single mothers. So their whole position, in other words, I never liked the way that brothers were throwing up gold digging. I never liked that. I felt like brothers were trying to shirk, the patriarchal responsibilities because they just don't want to pay for the shit to begin with. And we still have brothers that exist and operate like that. But real talk, at this point in time, what these women are talking about with the hypergamy train, I'm not going to say all. I'm not going to say, every single one. But the majority of these women, culturally speaking, because you don't move them as an EL. Not like them street niggas. You don't. You know what I'm saying? Not like Dave East. You don't. Okay? So because of that, not like Pop Smoke, you don't. So they're looking at it strategically like, okay, well, I need to get with a high value man. And again, what they feel they deserve, right? Because all these women, it's like, I've talked about this before, this sort of inferiority complex arrogance, which is like the damnedest shit in the world. It's like, woe is us, we're black women. But then at the same time, there's this arrogance. Like again, even with Kev pointing out, like all these women think that, they got the best pussy in the world. They think that their shit is just fire. And it's 10 times better than any other woman out there, despite the fact the other woman being younger or childless or better looking or more physically fit. I mean, just all of the, I could bring this to the table and I could bring that to the table and this to the table and I'm saying, when you look at the exchange, when these women say they want a high value man, they want money, they want cash shmoney. But when it comes to, what they're bringing to the table, it's very flimsy. And notice they don't never say the right stuff. They don't never say, oh, I'm going to be cooperative and supportive and all and cook up some meals or whatever. They don't never say that. It's always, I got the best vagina. I can, or my favorite, again, the I can build you up and make you a better man. Again, I can build you up. First off, how would she even know how to build you up if she's not already ahead of you? If she's not already surpassed you, or in her simple ass mind, she already thinks that she is. You get what I'm saying? How can she sit there and build you up? Again, this is that belief system shit. A black man can't do anything without the strength of a black woman, said the 22-year-old black female when I was on a blog talk radio show. A black man can't do anything without the strength of a black woman. Like I said, that whole, again, the idea, the belief system, the wrong orientation, us getting with their program, is all ties back to the idea that we are beneath them. And that's what I'm saying. Like these single mothers out here, especially the way that they talk from, the positions of arrogance, doomed. And, I'm saying if dudes had the discipline to leave them the hell alone and make it a message that this will not be tolerated. This is unacceptable, which I more or less think is happening now online. And I do think that, especially with the way that, Kevin Samuel's channel is blown up and, people are spreading his shit all over the place like wildfire, that many of these women are indeed getting the memo. I'm talking about the young childless women. They're getting the memo, and young men are also simultaneously getting the message. Like, okay, if you want to talk this type of shit, you need to be here. You can't be, there's a lot of dudes that they sit there and they love to watch, they get orgasms watching women get slammed, but yet they're not in the position that they need to be in order to righteously slam these women. Like, yo, chick, I went out here, I grinded, I did this, I did that, I'm on, and you over here trying to bring me some other man's seed. Fuck out of here. I'm just saying, brothers do have to do a better job of being on. Like, every time a black woman hits a corner, she should bump into a nigga with a full Windsor tie and a 3-piece suit. I don't give a fuck. Okay? That's the reality. Either that or some unionized blue collar black man that's out here repairing and fixing and maintaining shit. That's what they need to run into. But unfortunately, they don't. And it may be too late, because I got another video talking about this whole, going back into the expanded light skin universe, the sort of accessibility, that the black men that have resources, have with other races of women. They don't have to deal with any of this shit. And then the whole aspect of where the culture is, the belief systems, all that, which you're not going to be able to transcend as an individual black man. You're not. Okay, so you got all that to contend with: the wrong orientation, the belief systems, the matriarchy, the thug chasing, the lack of respect, being a hard worker. It's really messed up. And then you have, these others, that especially now, and I talk about this in another video, especially now, the way that these women are working out and looking good and looking appealing because they're making money off of their bodies on social media. You see? I'm trying to be a gym shark. Damn, I can see it. I'm like, that's what the new competition is. You got chicks out here making an ass. This whole lazy ass idea that black women just have a monopoly on thickness and fat asses. Again, I'm going to say it like it needs to be said. And I said this in the other video. I might post it or not. But, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that's just facts. And so you got people out here like black women, they're blessed. And yet, if they went to the gym like some of these others are going to the gym, oh man, it would be dangerous. It would be absolutely dangerous. But again, they might have been blessed and been at their peak when they went out there and they messed with the Dusty or messed with the street dude or whatever. They might have been blessed then, and they were at their peak and they looked good then, even though, all they did was dance. They didn't even lift a weight. They didn't even go to the gym. It's just genetics, baby. But, it's like that time has passed and now they're on the market screaming about high value men and they don't even have sense enough to get it right, get it tight. And the main reason they don't is, again, the high value men and what their demands are irrelevant because the high value men have always been the group of men that had low sexual market value in the eyes of these women. So think about it. It's like this. It's like, and another brother gave me this analogy, and it was perfect analogy, right? Let's say there was some chick, high school, college, that you saw, and you worship the ground that she walked on. In your mind, you were like, oh my God, she's just the baddest. Oh man, when I get on, man, I want to have a bitch just like that, right? That's what you were saying in your head, okay? And she was the bad bitch, okay? And she looked at you like you're a nobody. You're a nobody. And see, the thing is even after they get burned, even after they get pumped up full of the baby, they still look at ELs like they're nobodies, regardless of the fact of whether you got resources now. And the biggest mistake that a lot of ELs do is a lot of ELs, they try to get the what do you want to call it? The social revenge, so to speak. They try to show back up, when they got their shit all together and they got their ducks in a row, and they try to, do flybys past the chick that, yeah, chick, look at me now. Look at all the shit you're winning. They try to do that Mike Jones thing. Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot, hoes all on me. That's what dudes try to do. Okay. The fact of the matter is most of the time, the vast majority of the time, you're never going to get that reaction. At the end of the day, you're still a lame dude. You're just lame, but you got money. And there's too many things that are working against. Maybe that goes on in other communities. You know what I'm saying? Like, even you saw this in what movie was that? Imitation of Life. I think the 1950s version. Imitation of Life, where you had the guy and he wanted to holler. I think he was like a photographer, and then he left, and then he came back. He was the white guy that was, he was hollering. The daughter wanted him that was mixed, I think. Anyway, he came into the picture, and then he didn't have his shit together at the beginning of the movie. If you remember Imitation of Life, if you ever saw it, great movie, right? About this biracial girl shunning her mother. And he came back, and he had his shit together. And that's, look, motherfuckers can say what they want. It's the God's honest truth. Most ELs, that is their fantasy. Losers all through their adolescence, losers all through young adulthood. Like, man, when I get on, man, when I get this car and I get this watch and I get this crib and I get this, and that, and the third, and when I get them gators, you know what I'm saying? When I get that suit, that shark skin suit, they think, man, it's going to be on, man. She going to see me and she going to recognize what she lost. And I'm telling you, and she's not going to recognize what she lost. She still looks at you like a fucking lame. Only thing she wants now is them damn resources because she got mouths to feed. And that's what you're seeing with all these women that calling Kevin Samuel's show as single mothers and talking about how they want a high value man and everything because they need one because they got a mouth to feed. They got a mouth to feed. You know, and that's one of the things that really burns, you know, brothers up, you know, is this whole aspect of just, these women think that they're the prize and you're getting them after the fact. Used pussy. You can afford a brand new car. You can go out and get you a brand new car, especially the way that brothers keep talking about all their accessibility over the fence. You can get a brand new car. But these women actually think that a vehicle with high mileage, because of who they are, or excuse me, who they think they are versus who you were before, they think that you still look at them in that same light. And maybe you do. But what dudes miss is the fact that they look at you in that same light as that same corny motherfucker in high school or college. They still look at you like that. They still look at you and they see, oh, you got resources now. Oh, okay. Well, well, I know who I was, back then. And I know who he was back then. And so therefore, despite the fact that she may have gained some weight, despite the fact that maybe her skin is not as clear as it was before, despite the fact that she's got bags underneath her eyes, despite the fact that she now has a kid, despite everything, she thinks in her mind that you still gonna want her. That's why nonstop on damn near every Kevin Samuels show, all these women swear like it's like clockwork. They all talk like they just got the bomb pussy, and I'm just gonna put it on this lame, and he just gonna be like, woo! Woo! Like they literally think that's what's gonna happen. And I'm telling you, man, I've been there. I've seen these women that it's like, man, she was the baddest. And then you see her years later, man, them chicks start cracking. They start cracking. Whether they was partying too much, they tired, just stress from dealing with the Dusty that they were dealing with, who, yeah, he was also, sexy and the baddest motherfucker and everything. Now you see the dude, he was playing ball or whatever, 6-pack abs, all that stuff. Now he got a big old pot belly and shit. You know what I mean? Looking like Busta Rhymes before Busta Rhymes decided to work out like that. I'm telling you. And I've seen it too many times, man. I've seen it. And these women be sitting there with buyer's regret. And then they still believe, especially if the woman got pregnant young. And so she's in her early 30s, and she still, reasonably looks good. And another stupid thing the woman did is she was like, I can get men and men approach me and this, that, and the third. Again, they constantly mistake that a lot of these dudes that are trying to holler at them that just want to fuck, which is with the majority of them. Even the Dusties just want to fuck. They don't want to deal with you and your babies. Majority of them just want to fuck. Yeah, they gonna holler and everything else. Yeah, if you could, yeah, okay. You a single mom, you lonely, you feeling desperate. Okay, yeah, we can do the damn thing. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna beat it up. That's what a lot of these dudes do. Now, as a rule, I would advise against that. And the main reason I tell you why I advise against even smashing these women, there's two main reasons. Number one, all the childless women who are on looking at that and saying to themselves just same way we see when these chicks go out here and fuck with the thugs, you know what I mean? It's like, damn, you feel some type of way about that. It's like, really, that's what you messing with? And it would be one thing if sisters was out here just messing around with bad boys and shit. White bitches do the same thing. The only difference is sisters they have these niggas babies, and I don't know why, but they do. It just makes no sense. It's like, damn, you couldn't keep the dude in the fun box and just have fun. You know what I mean? Keep your shit discreet and have fun, but now you got evidence of the baby. You know, like I made a joke. I was talking about I'd rather date a chick that was a stripper than date a chick that's on OnlyFans or fans only, whatever the hell it is. I'd rather date a stripper. And they were like, no, it's the same thing. What's the difference? I was like, no, it's different. The chick that's a stripper, I mean, if she leaves that strip club and she goes somewhere else, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody gonna know. You could wife her up, everything. Nobody's gonna know. But see, the OnlyFans, the fans only, whatever the hell it's called. Anyway, yeah, the evidence of that is there. That shit is on the internet forever. And like I said, there's gonna be a time where you're gonna have, you know, this next generation behind me. Man, them motherfuckers gonna be freaking out when they get to, you know, their mid-30s and looking to settle down. And they're gonna be like, damn, what were you doing during the pandemic to make ends meet? Oh, well, you know, I had an OnlyFans. And like, well, damn, I can't have some chick and she busting it wide open and whatnot. You're gonna have sons out here that in 15 years are gonna be confronted with, yo, nigga, is this your mom's on OnlyFans? Or, man, I found your mom on Reddit. You know what I mean? Like, yo, like, I'm telling you, it's gonna get messy. It's gonna get messy out here. But nah, man, I like, you know, even with Cap's like, man, I give women the benefit of the doubt, you know, when it comes to this type of stuff, because I called him out on it. I was like, yeah, I get you, but he's like, man, he's like, as soon as I see that arrogance, you know what I mean, that arrogance, like the whole idea that they really believe that, you know, that oh, I know you gonna want this pussy because of who you are, because you just a fucking lame. That's when Cap loses it. There's one thing to be like, yeah, I fucked up, I had a kid, you know, I'm just looking for a partner, and, you know, like, if the woman's humble with the shit, Cap's cool with that. He's like, look, it's not ideal, but, you know, he's cool with, I mean, hell, he did it. He dated a woman with 3 children. You know what I'm saying? All the women he dated were single mothers. You know, and he's admitted that's in part due to, you know, his low self-esteem about not having game, and then the whole idea of, you know, the black men that were out here not doing the right thing. But see, once he picks up on that arrogance, which a lot of Kevin Samuel's show demonstrates, that's when Cap turns into me. And Cap's like, man, fuck that shit. You know what I mean? Just out here, just arrogantly believe, yeah, I know you gonna want this used up pussy. I know that you gonna want this vagina that a whole human being came out of. I know you gonna want this, cause you just a fucking lame. And that's how a lot of these women really feel about high value men. That high value man moniker or label is a misnomer. It's a misnomer because it's the same way that we throw educated lame on top of as a prefix to lame. You know what I'm saying? If I just said lames, like people would be like, but if I say educated lame, it's like, oh, well, you know, we're going somewhere. We're going to leave these bitches in the dust when we get there. Right? Educated lame softens the blow. High value man softens the blow. But real talk, the majority of the high value men are indeed lames. They're lames. You know, I mean, again, like we're not a consideration when in the eyes of these women. We're not. We're more of a consideration, quiet as is kept, with other races of women who just simply recognize, oh, he got there, but the requirement, going back to what Brian Wonderbread said, the requirement, you know, for the level of hypermasculinity that you have to demonstrate as a black man with others is way less. Way less. You know, you don't got to go out there and, talking like Lauren London and dumbass shit talking about freaking Pop Smoke. But I shouldn't even use her because she's biracial. So let me not use her. But that sentiment, that cultural sentiment, that idea, like that woman that was on the show talking about, I don't want a man that works a 9 to 5. I need a boss nigga and all the other shit. Right. And then people told me that she's got a fans only or only fans. Well, I got to figure out what it is. People are like, shut up, Pete. You really got an account. No, actually, I don't. I don't understand why anybody's paying for that shit when you can go right there on fucking Pornhub and get what you need. Like, I don't understand that. Like, there's plenty of naked pictures and bitches online. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go to xnxx.com. There's all type of shit that you can go to and see naked bitches. I don't understand why these dudes are paying for the shit, but I watched a couple YouTube videos and people were talking about how you get these guys that are like kind of like incels, and then they develop these psychological relationships with these women and think because they paid for a picture that the woman owes them and that they're somehow in a relationship with. It's crazy shit. Okay, I can't relate to that. Okay, I'm like, there's plenty of shit on the internet to rub out to. I don't get the fascination, with that. But yeah, I mean, this is what it is. I mean, this is where we're at in terms of interpersonal relationships in the BC. And I would hope that it would turn around. I would hope that, ELs will be able to put their foot down and the women realize that there is no do-overs, and then that the next generation would just stop and we would just see a sharp decline in single mothers. But I think a part of what really makes that not the outcome or not even a possibility is the fact that you have these men that are basically looking to completely jump the fence and say, well, I'm just not going to deal. The community is too far gone. And they're just like, deuces, I'm out. And then you have more biracials, and then the biracials become a part of the population and they confuse shit in the conversation. I may be mixed, but I identify as black, and then it's just confusing. And then, people don't want to be mean spirited and kick them out. And it's just more confused. That's what I think you're going to see. And colorism will persist, due to that. But again, I don't know where Kevin got his number from. I think somebody put it in the description box of one of my videos with this, 30% of educated black men are marrying out. I'm like, well, that's your high value men. That's the majority of them, that are not majority of the high value men, but I'm saying, again, the educated crowd is where your high value men are. There's very few uneducated men who are, high value outside of rappers, entertainers, social media, type people. Beyond that, like you don't have that. We don't have too many businesses, in the black community where you have men that say, hey, I didn't go to college. I took the equity out of my home, or out of my parents took the equity out of their home, because they're still together, and, they threw me X amount of dollars and I took that money and I flipped it. Like, that's white people shit. That's like the dude that started freaking GoPro, whose father was wealthy and gave him $200,000 to start GoPro and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar business. If there's ever a company you should look at that just blew up billion-dollar valuation, last time I checked was Gymshark, the white boy, and I think he's from the UK, that was selling, was pushing that shit out of his mom's basement and sending that stuff to a lot of the women on social media, saying, hey, you look pretty good, why don't you wear this? Hey, I'll give you some free gym stuff, and send that shit out. The next thing you know, other girls are like, oh my God, my favorite social media person is wearing such and such. Oh my God, let me go buy that too. And the next thing you know, he's just balling out of control. I don't know why we don't have that sort of seemingly sort of innovation outside of, music and whatnot. But, I you know how I feel about black boys growing up in these single mothered homes without strong patriarchal leadership to emulate. And again, how would you get that if you have so many women who have wrong orientation, who believe that fundamentally they're supposed to be running shit, and that, basically educated, high value men are nothing more than a purse. We're supposed to be, their purse that they can just tap into and grab resources from. And I'm saying, again, due to the conversations online and social media, I'm like, men they're not going for that. The gig is up. And I'm just still blown away by the number of women who still call in Kevin's show and don't realize the gig is up. I'm like, yo, the gig is up. What are you doing? Like the gig is up. They don't get it. But yeah, I had to get this off of my chest. I had to get this off of my chest. Cause her interview, I mean, she was nice. She was like she was sweet. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, lady, he's explaining to you, what don't you get? He just told you. He just broke it down, and they're just like, she just not getting it. Well, but I can, and but I mean, every time, she thought she was going to go through a door, Kevin just slammed that shit shut. I mean, he just slammed it. She was like, oh, I got to exit over. And Kevin was like, nope. Kev was like, nope. I was like, damn. I was like, yeah, chick, you got nowhere to go. You keep thinking, this shit. And again, she said, she was open to dating. I hate when Kevin talks about, I wouldn't date women your age. He gets so stupid with that shit. A 55-year-old would probably be, elated to date a 38-year-old woman. And at 38 years old, it is expected that a woman is going to have kids. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff, all these black men, the older black men that are online talking about, older men don't date women in their, late 30s or early 40s and shit. That's bullshit. Kevin needs to stop with that shit. I'm out there, getting women that just entered community college. Like, fuck out of here. I wish you would stop with that bullshit. It's bullshit. So I'm like, yeah, if she wants to go and deal with that category, deal with a man that was divorced and, back on the market and, established and everything else like that. Yeah, a woman can do that. She can definitely leverage her beauty, with a 55-year-old man or a 50-year-old man. Oh, most definitely. A 30-something, mid-30-something-year-old woman who maintain herself. Oh, big time she can. Hopefully the guy maintains himself too. But she can definitely, that goes on. And see, that's the one thing that irritates me and pisses me off about Kevin, is because he does not steer women in the direction and that they should go. So because he doesn't do that, and then these women are focused on, high value men that are around the same age as them. I'm like, yo, you're doomed. You're doomed. I'm like, Kev needs to, I'm like, man, why don't you just put up the sign and say single mothers that away? I don't understand that shit. You know what I mean? But as it pertains to, all these women who think wrong orientation, belief systems, idea that they're going to run shit, the idea that they are the prize and all that stuff, man, that shit is dead. It's dead. I don't know why so many of these women continue to do it. I understand it's, women still out there. They're not on social media. They're not on the internet. They're still thinking the same tired ass bullshit that they were thinking in the 90s. Just like when you watch that old, Yolanda clip, about, what was it? I can't find a good black man or something like, where are all the good black men? And you had that light-skinned woman that was sitting up there talking about, and what's wrong with single mothers? You know, she sat up all erect. What's wrong with single mother? Again, that's that cultural belief shit. And women are still on that. They're still on that. And see, you know, it's like, well, it was something I was going to say about the, you know, just the you know, the high value man. Like one of the things that I gotta, you know, really break down. We are not the standard. Y'all have to understand that. And this is where, you know, we bring in the concept. Yes, in any other community, you getting yourself established and getting your shit together and having your place laid out and having your luxury vehicle and all that other stuff, you doing that carries weight in other communities. But it does not carry the same type of weight in the black community. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say it's completely unrelated to the fact that many of us don't even live in those communities. Okay, or those of us that get out of those communities. I mean, we get on and we move the hell out. You know what I mean? So you're not actively in the community, you know, where people are seeing you build and maintain and, you know, hook people up and put people on and all that other stuff, to where you're like Sonny in a Bronx Tale, and people develop respect for you, and people, when they have issues and problems, they go to you. That's how you get that sort of clout. But unfortunately, you got a lot of ELs that have this attitude like, well, man, that sounds like too much work, man. I don't want to do that, man. You know, people just when they want to mooch off and this, that, and third. And yes, you have to be careful about black people just mooching off of you and not respecting you. Because if you go in there individually trying to be Captain Save them, you will get used. That you will get manipulated, if not end up dead. You know, but I'm saying at the collective level, if ELs were going to do it, that is how they would have to do it. That is how you would actively, you know, shift the culture. And it would be a fight. It would be a fight. You know, there would be a point where, you know, 50% of the community gets it and 50% is still on the dumbass bullshit. That's the reality. That's how bad it is right now. That's how we got to this, you know, 70, you know, 86% of black kids born out of wedlock. That's how we got to that stupid, retarded ass number. You know, but I can't advocate for any brother going out here and dealing with, you know, all this used vagina and raising, you know, Ray Ray and Pookie's children and ensuring, you know, his genetic legacy and survival, you know, perpetuates. Like, fuck that shit. You know, and I hate to see black children suffer. But again, that's their mama and their daddy's fault. That ain't your fault, you know, as a you know, productive black male in the community. That is not your fault. Do not let them shame you with a situation that you have nothing to do with and you did not create. Because they will try. Well, these young black boys, they need guidance. Well, baby, maybe, bitch, you should have fucking picked a better man. Fuck out of here with all that shame. Like it's your responsibility to come in there and fix that shit. And she laid down with a fucking Dusty and bears no responsibility. Like, fuck. Oh, God, that makes me so mad. You know, because they will try that type of shaming bullshit. You had nothing to do with it. You didn't contribute to it. You know what I mean? That shit, do not let them put that on you. Now, if you take on the responsibility, that does not mean that you are guilty of anything. It just simply means that you are being a mature individual and you are taking on the responsibility because you recognize something needs to be done. But see, again, it's that arrogance. It's that, you know, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And this, that, and the third, you know, trying to give you a busy assignment. And then a whole dangling some fruit over your head, some rotten fruit over your head, you know, acting like, yeah, and see, the reason we don't respect you is because y'all ain't doing none of this. And maybe if you did this and fixed this, then maybe you could get some of this used pussy. Like, bitch, fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. You know, but this is where we're at. This is where we're at. And I'm telling y'all, brothers, if you have to walk, if you have to bounce, if you have to do it, do it. I'm telling you. You go out there, you swirl it up, and yeah, I would love to sit there and throw my fist in the air and Wakanda forever and all that shit. But I'm telling you, if you got to do it, do it. This shit that I keep seeing, these women calling in the Kevin show, man, I'm like, nah, man, fuck that, man. These women are fucking clueless. And I don't want to see any brother that has beat the odds and gotten on the level that he needs to be on, that we should all be on, you know what I mean, or the majority of us, right, get pulled down by getting themselves involved in the wrong chick and taking on the burden of a responsibility of a situation that he did not create. And there's no reward for it. There's no real respect for it. It's not like people are trying to actually, really, it's not like they're actually going to mitigate things on their end. No, they're not. They just want the situation that they created for you to fix. And I say no to that. I would love to sit there and say, oh man, it'd be great if we'd all just come together and just, let bygones be bygones and fix the community and the situation. Nah, man. But unfortunately, you're not going to get any respect out of that. Not when you got women up there talking about, the man that works a 9 to 5 is a sucker, and bitches that don't even have jobs are running around acting like they can teach you how to be a go-getter. No. I can't support that. Anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out.